you know, now seeing that we are not in the AFCON that is coming. So CHAN is all that we have right now, and we have to take it with seriousness. Of course, losing to Zanzibar, it wasn't, we didn't see it coming, first of all, because we beat Tanzania, and a lot of Kenyans had hopes that we would beat Zanzibar, but the game was chaotic, I could say, that way. I just saw a glimpse of the match, but I think you can say Kenyans can take something from that match going into the CHAN tournament. Don't let the emotions get the better part of you. And first of all, if you look at how the red card was shown
to the captain,
to the captain, and he was and the red card was shown because he was protesting for the yellow, you know, and somehow it played a part. It played a huge part in the game, and it's a learning point. You should, as in discipline also, and we also saw all that happened with the referee and all that. So I think moving forward to the next tournament, which is CHAN, I think it's a big learning point for the team, and all I can say, I'm proud of the team where Mario Mefika. They have a lot to show.
Definitely, it was a good preparation for the CHAN that is coming. But let's talk about the officiating. People we have been forever been complaining about officiating, not just in Kenya, even in England, and we can attest to that during this weekend's match. Now, back here at home in that particular tournament, the captain was protesting a decision that the referee had made that was not favorable, and he felt like this was not it was not a right decision. And do you think it's high time maybe these footballing bodies that govern a particular country or a tournament, they should take keen interest into punishing these referees severely for the matches that we feel like they've underperformed? Because yesterday there was a match it's called 3KFC. There was a match, it was a Kenyan match, and there was a commotion during the match because of the same thing, officiating. And officiating has been a major problem or an issue when it comes to our football. What do you think can be done to make sure that these referees or these people who are officiating these matches perform do their work diligently to avoid such scenarios whereby one team at the end of the match feels like maybe they have not been given the right environment to be able to perform? What do you feel about that? And you can take what I'm going to try that.
For me, what I can say about officiating, if there is bad officiating in a certain game here in Kenya or any other game, these officials should be called out. They should be called out, and they should say why a certain decision stood, why a certain decision was overturned, something like that. If you look at this game that we are referencing, Kenya versus Zanzibar, there was a lot of controversy in officiating, and you could see in the match the referee was maybe giving certain decisions which were not pleasing to the Kenyan team, and it brought a lot of chaos. You could see there were chaos, and it brought a lot of chaos. And for me, what I can say, these officials, all the referees, they should be called out for these bad decisions. They should explain to people why you give this decision, and also the body that is under that officiating, they should also call out this official. They should come out and also say something about it, because imekuwa ikiendelea sana, this bad officiating, and they should do something about it. Kwanza with this game, Kenya versus Zanzibar being an example, a good example, they should call out these officials and address it.
But Rodney, do you think that red card, to an extent, was maybe it was bound to happen, because it was the first time Abdul Omar was having that captain that ban for the captain of the team, and maybe he does not have that experience of being the captain of a national team. And maybe, do you think as much as the protest maybe was the right way it was maybe due to the officiating, but do you think the reaction that he had towards the referee, whereby the referee felt offended, it came to a point whereby and the referee threw a punch to a player. The referee threw a punch to him, literally. Do you think sometimes the players go overboard in protesting about decisions in the pitch?
I think there was a bit of an overreaction. Since we were not on the field, we cannot really know whatever he said to the referee, so we cannot really know whatever warranted that kind of reaction. So again, it wasn't a bit right, a bit overboard from the referee. It was a bit of an overreaction, but even as a player, considering that you're the captain of the team, there's a certain way you have to sort of carry yourself, because the rest of your players are also watching you. So you should sort of have a bit of a level head to sort of bring a bit of calm to the rest of your teammates. So I think for both sides, both the referee and both the player, they both went a bit overboard. And especially during this weekend, there have been a few controversies, especially in terms of refereeing, and I think it's down to there's no real consequence for most of these referees. Even when they make some of these controversial decisions, they don't really face any sort of consequence in terms of maybe punishment or whatever. So I feel like they feel like they are a bit too protected. So I think there's something they have to sort of consider to either shield the players or to sort of change how the refereeing works so that they can be a bit more professional, if I can put it that way.
Do you think it would be good if maybe there was a problem with officiating which determined the outcome of a match? Maybe the match could be played again or not? Do you think that would make sense?
What I can say, it may happen to Evil, but I don't know if they can go to an extent whereby, because there was bad officiating, it's according to them to make that decision. I don't know if they can go to that extent to say that it was bad officiating, and because Zanzibar on their side also had a person got sent off, and I don't know if they can reach to that extent. I think they'll just go with that result that way, but they just have to address it, because it can happen even maybe in the next match.
Exactly.
If Zanzibar face Burkina Faso
in the final,
it can happen. It's up to these referees and the body that is under officiating. They have to address it. Sana sana hiyo game ya Kenya versus Zanzibar, and ukiangalia the referee alirusha punch, and we have never seen something like that in a long time, and something like that should be, maybe something should be done to him. Najua atapata ban, maybe as he officiate some games because of that, but inafaa ikuwe addressed.
Definitely there should be an address on that particular issue. Now, moving away from the Mapinduzi Cup in Zanzibar, let's come back at home, because after a long hiatus due to the festivities in the Kenya Premier League, or the FKF Premier League as it is known, the games were back this weekend, whereby we had a couple of games played. Not all the games, but some teams took part in matches this weekend. And I think one of us here, I think, Rodney, you have the fixtures. Sorry, the results, for the game. Yes. Why do I always speak about the fixtures and the results? Why do I mix up? It is a new year, come on. Anyway, it's bound to happen. It's the first show, and I think I took a long, we took a long break. Yes. I think my brain is just adjusting to everything. Now, don't you help us with the...
Okay, so we had Posta Rangers who won 2-1 against Nairobi City Stars. We had Shabana FC who won 2-1 against Tusker. FC Talanta lost 1-0 to Kakamega Homeboys. Lindsay Stars won 1-0 against Mara Sugar. And then Bidco drew 0-0 to Maranga Seal. And Mathare United drew 0-0 to Karibangi Sharks.
Definitely. And before even we go deeper into the games, I want to look at the table. Manu, I think do you have the table? I just go with it.
I have the table.
As it stands right now?
As it stands, we have KCBFC still at number 1 position with 27 points, then followed by Tusker FC, number 2. They have tied 27 points, number 1 and number 2. And then number 3 we have Gor Mahia with 24 points, but they have played 1 game less. Same to Police FC, they have played 14 games. Tied, they have tied number 2, number 3 and number 4. Gor Mahia and Police FC, they have tied with 24 points each. And then going to number 5, Shabana FC with 23 points. Number 6, AFC Leopards with 22 points. Number 7, Barandari FC, and number 8, Muranga Seals. Both have 22 points. Number 6, number 7, and number 8. And then coming into number 9, we have Sofapaka FC with 21 points. Number 10, Mathare United with 20 points.
That's just the top 10.
Yeah, up to top 10. And then the list goes on with the margins are tight.
Very tight and very minimal. And just on the bottom 3 right now, let me just mention them. On the number 18th who is at the bottom is Posta Rangers. 15 games and 14 points, very poor.
Yeah.
For them, FC Atalanta on number 17, second last, which with 16 games, only 14 points also.
Yeah.
Tying with the two bottom teams, and then you have Bidco United, 16 games, 15 points. Very poor for them, and I hope they rise up on that, especially Posta Rangers.
True.
Because they're one of the teams which are performing so well last season. I don't know what's happening this season, but I hope they'll be in this second half of the season. I hope they will tie up their socks tighter or pull up their socks.
Yeah.
To make sure that at least there is just a good result to avoid the relegation battle. Now, I want to talk about the individual team, especially the Posta Rangers game. Posta Rangers 2, Nairobi City Stars 1. A very good game right now. And right now, Posta Rangers sit at what? They're at the bottom. And at least they won against Nairobi City Stars now, who sit at position
15.
At position 15. And we just talk about this second half of the season, whereby these teams at the bottom of the league right now, they need to pull up their socks to make sure that they compete and make sure they avoid the relegation battle now. And you're seeing Posta Rangers starting off the year or the second half of the season with a win against Nairobi City Stars, which is one of the good teams in the league right now. What do you make of that, especially? And I looked at that game. I watched some highlights of that game. And I hope my producer has the highlight for the Posta Rangers game. It's on the screen right now. The Posta Rangers, there's a goal that was scored by the Nairobi City Stars, which was a mistake from the goalkeeper. I think it's the first goal. If you watch, what do you make of that game, literally? Posta Rangers at least registering a win after a very long time.
I think it's a positive result for them, especially considering the position they are in the league right now. It's not, a very encouraging position for them, considering how good a team they are, especially in the Kenyan Premier League. So I think it's a stepping stone for them. They do have a lot of work now moving onwards into the season, considering how good teams are in the Kenyan Premier League now. So they have an uphill task for them ahead of them this season, and hopefully they can maintain their good form and carry on with the same performances.
Definitely, and that's what we are praying for. I don't know. Of course, at the end of the season, two teams have to go down, or literally, or maybe three, because the team at the 16th position has to play a playoff. But at the end of the day, we are going to have a team at the bottom. But at the end of the day, we need to see Post at that position. Maybe another team that I won't mention, but. For the reasons only known to me now. Like I said, in that particular game, there was a mistake from the keeper. After receiving a ball, tried to give a pass to his player, but literally the ball fell to an opponent player, who, through that mistake, a penalty was got from that. A mistake from the Posta Rangers keeper. What do you make of that, especially this? Do you think sometimes the keepers get so tense that they make very silly mistakes?
Yeah, I think
what is wrong with this?
I think it comes to maybe it could be the atmosphere around, but also if you have pressure in you, if you're the keeper, people say just clear the ball, just clear the ball, don't let the opponent to akupress sana, and maybe kunaweza kuwa maybe na aspect element ya confidence, I can still make the pass, or maybe even though komechora, I'll make the pass to the defender, and it comes inakuja kwa mistake. I think it's just decision making for the keeper, and also just not making good decisions when you're with the ball. Sana the keeper. Unajua keeper hapatangi ball most of the time. The keeper's job is to save, make crucial saves, or maybe you are not an infield player. But unapata sometimes it's just lack of concentration, or you become too much confident with the ball, and you see maybe now when you become too much confident, the decision making from the keeper, anasema I can still make that pass, and maybe you are not aware that the striker from the other team is pressing you, and it leads to maybe you getting scored, or maybe bringing a penalty, and it happens that way. I think it's just lack of concentration, or being too confident, and it just follows that way.
And luckily, despite the fact that there was a mistake from the keeper, they came out with a win. and that was kudos to them.
Yeah.
And amazing results for Posta Rangers. They really needed that to boost their morale in the upcoming games. Now, another game here is Shabana FC against Tusker FC. A very good game, a very big game in this particular fixtures in this FKF Premier League. And Shabana coming up on top, against Tusker FC. Tusker, one of the teams that maybe right now they were position 2.
Yeah.
The last time before we went for the break. And Shabana, despite the fact that Shabana sometimes does not have that consistency when it comes to performances, but right now we're seeing Shabana now bringing out those it's called the claws and trying to win some games, something that is very encouraging to their fans, because right now they have a very good fan base that is really behind them. You see them turning up for every match in good numbers, in very large numbers, and making sure the fourth man is hard when it comes to the matches, and we are seeing the results now coming out through that. They beat Tusker 2-1. Tusker, that's one of the teams that is performing so well in this particular season. What do you make of that game, especially now that we have Shabana now climbing up the ladder, now trying to bring that competition to the top teams right now?
I think it was a good performance from them, and considering not too long ago Shabana were somewhere at the bottom of the table, and
exactly.
I remember we were sort of criticizing them for the sort of inconsistencies and the poor performances they were putting in the league, and now seeing them at the not exactly at the very top, but competing with the top teams likes of Tusker, you know, it shows there's been good a massive improvement for them, and even for their fan base, I'm sure they're now sort of celebrating the sort of performances their team is putting in, so they can hopefully now carry on the sort of performances they've been putting in, because the league is quite competitive now, and if you look at the margins that are there between each and every team, it's a very small margin. You look at Tusker now with 27 points, Shabana at 23, so it's only 4 points. They're only 4 points behind them. So for whichever team, as long as you maintain your consistent wins, you can sort of find your way up the table, and hopefully, if all goes well, they can at least win the Premier League. Sitting
fifth at the table right now, and just 4 points behind the league leaders who are KCB and maybe Tusker because they're tied in points. Do you think Shabana is up the task now? Maybe you can see a Shabana that can win the league, because right now, like you've said, they have a good sponsor for the team. They have no financial issues. They have a very good fan base. They have good players, a very good coach, and now their home ground, which is the Gusii Stadium that was inaugurated, they're performing so well in their home ground right now. Do you think Shabana is one of the teams that we can be looking up to maybe to compete for the league right now, Manu?
I think in the position right now, I think they can try to push, because as we have read the standings in the table, the margins are very tight, from number 3, number 4, number 5, even number 1 and number 2, like number one to number 5. Wamejieka sasa in that position whereby they can, if they win games, wanaweza jipata wanapanda sasa number 3, number 2, pole tu, and you know, before even playing Tusker, they, you know, coming into this game, they're coming from a loss to Mathare United, and nilikuwa naangalia the former fixtures before sasa wacheze hizi, Tusker walikuwa wameshinda big against Posta Rangers, I think, and now coming into this fixture, Tusker ndo walikuwa na the upper hand to win the game and put pressure in the top. Actually, wangeshinda hii game, wangekuwa number 1, actually, wangekuwa number 1, and I think what Shabana has done, unajua now up to them, they want to be in that position as well. So if they start winning those games, and kudos to them actually for winning against Tusker FC, it may intensify the title race, and also Gor Mahia in the picture. I think it's now being interesting to watch this title race. So I think Shabana have what it takes. You know, you may say stadium, they have a sponsorship, and now I think for me they have what it takes. And ukiangalia now the standings, wamejeka now in that picture whereby if they win other games and maybe number 3 or number 2 wanze to slip up, they can find themselves in that position whereby they are putting pressure at the title race. So for me, I think Shabana, if they start winning games, because last year walikuwa inconsistent, ligi ikianza wamekuwa na some up and downs, maybe off the pitch, on the pitch, and right now when wameanza mwaka with the win, I think it can be a new start for them in this season, and also putting pressure in the title race.
Especially looking against Tusker is a very good statement to other to boost the morale into other teams. The Shabana is up to the task this season. They are not here to play, and despite the fact that they've played more games as compared to maybe Tusker, Gor Mahia, and KCB, and also Silopers who sit now pretty behind them, but still the fact that they have a leg at least ahead. It's a good boost for them. It's a good boost for them, especially against Tusker now. So this is something that it's something good for them now. Other team here that I feel like we should talk about is Murang'a Seals against Bidco United that played against Murang'a Seals, and it ended in a 0-0 draw. I feel like to me here, Murang'a Seals is one of the teams that I feel like they are, according to the advantages they have as a team. When you talk about the sponsorship, they don't have the struggles that other teams may be facing. Because if you look at they have a very good leadership, they have a very good sponsorship, and from SportPesa they have a very they're one of the teams that have their own stadium, if I can call it so. So like everything is positive on their side. And I feel like why am I saying that they're performing? Because from Murang'a Seals, it's very rare to hear the off-field issues. They also have a very good fan base to accompany that. So I feel like it's a team that should be there with Shabana because they came up at the same time last season, but one, and it's one of the teams that maybe I feel like they did so well last season, and I knew that this season maybe they were going to improve. But right now we're seeing them. Right now they sit at Murang'a Seals. They sit pretty. At the 8th position. How many points? They are at 22 points. They're not so far off from Shabana and David, the team that's ahead of them. But I feel like they can do better. I know I'm giving so much pressure on them. They are the only two seasons in this Premier League, but I feel like they can do better according to the quality that they have. Do you have anything to say about that?
I think when you look at they have played more games as well, so that adds more pressure to the team because the teams that are above you, they are 2 games less. You know, they have played 16 games, and a team like Bandari FC, which is at the 7th position, they have played 14 games. So, and also ukiangalia hata like Sofapaka FC, they can catch up at them. Even teams like Mathare United also. Despite Mathare United, I don't know if Mathare United lost. Yeah, they drew also. So, ukiangalia that section of the league table, they have to do better actually in the upcoming games. Considering that they have played more games than most of the teams, they have played more games like Shabana, 16 games. So, in the upcoming matches that are ahead, they have to do better.
Especially now getting a draw against Bidco, which now sits at the relegation battle right now. It's a team that I feel like they should have. This is a fixture that they should have won. Despite the fact that they were away, but if you look at the quality and if you look at the table right now where they both sit, I think Murang'a Seals had every reason to win that game, and maybe they fell short this time. Hope from the upcoming games they'll be doing better, and that's just about that. Unless you have anything else to add on the Kenyan Premier League, on the FKF, I think we should go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be going straight now into Europe, whereby we'll be talking more about the games that took place. I know Manu is smiling because I know he's smiling, and it will be, never trust a smiling cat. There's pain inside. So let us go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be going now straight into Europe and talk about every action that took place this weekend. Don't go far. Because we're here because of you now. Like I said earlier, this broadcast is live on our social media platforms, that is both on Facebook and on YouTube. So go down there, take part in the conversation, air in your views about everything that we're talking about here, and we'll gladly read them as we continue. Now, and also, please don't follow. If you have not followed, please don't fail to follow. Now, going now to Europe now, because there are a lot of matches that played this weekend. Even before the weekend, because I think there was Italian Cup during the weekday. I think that was between AC Milan against Inter Milan. My head is just out of place. Just going to just
understand.
Now, there was a match that pitted AC Milan against Inter Milan, a very big derby in the Italian league, whereby they were fighting for a cup, and of course AC Milan came out on top. I was very, very much disappointed because I'm an Inter Milan fan.
I was happy.
Of course. No. That's one of the things that made you happy the last week, huh?
Yeah, and, apart from, you know, you just if you're not happy, kama uko sad, you have to look for things that make you happy. Kama here, we had the Inter Milan versus AC Milan derby, and also the El Clasico yesterday, which will be coming to it later. They sana seeing Barcelona winning, nilisahau all about Arsenal and Man U and all that.
Before we get to there, let's first talk about Inter Milan, the Coppa Italia. A very big derby, a very good game, and right now, basing on the form that Inter has, I didn't expect them to lose against AC Milan.
Yeah,
and especially a comeback. Especially a comeback. What do you make of that game first? Let's start from Manu. What do you make of that game?
That game was highly anticipated. You know, first of all, it's a derby, and you know, derbies have no prediction.
Exactly.
You know, and uzuri ya derby ni sasa kuna iko divided vizuri, like Inter Milan fans this side, AC Milan, so and no prediction.
And they share
the same stadium. So such atmosphere, you know, it brings that unpredictability in that game. And of course, Inter Milan were the favorites because of their form.
Yeah.
AC Milan, you know, their former boss, sijui kama alikuwa sacked ama so they had a new coach, the former Porto manager. He was just coming in. This was his second game of AC Milan, and favor haikuwa on AC Milan, ilikuwa on Inter Milan, because Inter Milan ndo walikuwa on form. Ukiangalia pia in the league, AC Milan hawajaanza ligi vizuri. So coming to the Supercoppa Italia, Inter Milan ndo walikuwa favorites, but because it's a derby, kuna predictability hapo. So Inter going ahead, of course, before half time, na ilikuwa inaka ni wao ndo watashinda, and it was so open. And into the second half, I don't know intensity AC Milan ilitoka wapi. I don't know if I think your substitution ya Rafael Leao pia ilileta change pia in the team. Also Theo Hernandez scoring a superb free kick, Pulisic of course, and Tammy Abraham scoring in the late dying minutes of the game. So it was very good. It was a good game.
A very good game of football that was, and a very good showpiece there on that big stage that was. And one thing, Rodney, you're going to agree with me, is that he has said earlier that, of course, Inter were the favorites to win, and having that comeback and by AC Milan, it shows it shows that zeal that they wanted to win this. You know, it was a long time coming, because I feel like in the recent past, Inter Milan has been above AC Milan in so many ways, in so many things, and the performance by Inter Milan. What can you say about that? And before that, I'm sorry. Let us go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll be continuing. At least that we know that the Clasico should be carrying. And unfortunately, why it was one-sided, especially in the second half. But let us start from Man. What do you make of that game? I know you're a Barcelona. I know you're a Barcelona fan. And something to smile about.
Yeah, of course, something to smile about. I watched I didn't find time to watch the game, of course, because of the other game, you know. But I woke up today and checked the highlights, and you know, kuna ukiangalia social media, because game ilisha 5-2, Barcelona winning 5-2 na wakainua cup. Niliangalia one of the goals that was scored, Yamal. It was somehow a recreated goal by Messi, you know, against the same opponents.
You had to say that.
Yeah, I had to say it. You know, it's poetic. I can say that. But and then on the other side of the wing, Rafinha, what a season he is having. And ukiangalia Barcelona as a team, wamekuwa na struggles financially. Kuna hii news ya kuwa registered. Ilikuwa Dani Olmo and Paul Victor. I was following closely, and Daniel Mo amekuwa signed to recently into Barcelona. I don't know how many, 60 something. And it was so surprising that ilikuwa karibu akue free at the end of the nini,
which would have been a loss to Barcelona.
Big loss because of course money as well inaenda loss hivyo because Barcelona now can't afford him as well. But before that game ilikuwa proven yani walikuwa wameweza kuwa registered kama Barcelona players, and that was big news for them even coming to this game. And ukiangalia hata Lewandowski scoring nani Balde, it was a big game. Sijui kama ulisema ilikuwa one sided sijui kama ilikuwa one sided inside of Barcelona
especially the second half.
but Real Madrid put in a big fight.
Exactly.
Sana in that first half. Kylian Mbappe ni kama niliona a different side of him, as in atujaona this side in a long time. But of course akushinda game. Niliona kina nani Vinicius Junior putting up the fight, but it wasn't enough. Kina Rodrigo, it wasn't enough. I think the best team won. And also ukiangalia pia form ya Barcelona venye imekuwa coming to the end of last year, hawajakuwa in a good place, just losing against small teams. But I think now but now but coming into this game ilikuwa a big win for them. I think a statement coming to the league. Wanaweza sasa improve, kina Yamal wamerudi, kina Rafinha sasa, nani Pedri and Gavi hapo midfield, and it's imewa revive sasa coming into this year and coming back into the league. I think now they'll put up a fight in the title race ya La Liga.
Rodney, where do you think Real lost this match from? Because they scored fast through Mbappe, and seeing Barcelona coming back, like raising up the occasion after that first goal scare whereby they had the Real scored fast, raising up to the occasion now. The game became 4-1 to a point. Why do you think Real lost the plot in this particular game?
I think it was just down to the best team won at the end of the day, and in terms of maybe tactically or mentality wise, maybe Barcelona is sort of outshone Real Madrid, because this is not the first time they've beaten them
this season especially. They won 4-0 sometimes back,
and especially now looking at the result, it's a bit shocking to see Real Madrid conceding 5 goals in a game. So they clearly maybe either found out what's his name, Ancelotti's tactics, or Hansi Flick has sort of revived Barcelona this season, and to see Barcelona putting up such a performance against a team the size of Real Madrid, it's quite encouraging for Barcelona, and a bit shocking on the side of Real Madrid, considering the contrast of these two sides. You look at Real Madrid, the amount of maybe superstars they have, and you look at a team like Barcelona, it's mostly consisted of young players. So it shows how much of an impact Hansi Flick has had at Barcelona. And now going back into the La Liga, even starting off the season, we knew that it's going to be a very tight race. At the moment, Real Madrid are in front, but you're not really sure if that's how the league is going to end now, moving on in a few weeks. So it shows there's a bit of competitiveness still alive in the top 2 teams.
And that's the beauty of La Liga. Right now, and I think the tactical approach and the tactical genius of Hansi Flick, doing and beating Ancelotti is not a first for him. And we have seen that, like you said, you've seen it before in this season. So twice in a season they have scored 10 goals past Real Madrid. And it's very unfortunate for a team like Real Madrid, and this being your biggest rival in the world of football and losing to such numbers is something that is very bad for Real Madrid as a fan. If you're a fan, as a fan also. Now,
and also bila kusahau nani alirudi pia.
Getting the Arsenal's back. Getting his best Arsenal back. I'm not saying Arsenal team. I'm saying in the name of Yamal now. I think they had missed him a lot.
Yes.
And that's why maybe we feel like maybe they were underperforming previously.
And also nani returning Araujo.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was massive.
Very massive for them, exactly.
Yeah.
And right now, I think also Real has this injury scare that they've been having for the longest time this season, especially. And I feel like maybe it's taking a toll on them.
Yeah.
But I know Real Madrid. Sometimes when and it has been happening in the La Liga, whereby you feel like when Barcelona wins one cup, the next one you expect Real to do that.
Yeah.
And right now I feel like Real Madrid is going to win either Champions League or the La Liga.
Champions League, I don't think so.
It is Real Madrid we're talking about now. And so definitely you're going to see a good Real Madrid from now on, I feel, because this is a shocker for them. It's a wake-up call for them.
Yeah.
And they're going to do, I know Ancelotti and I know the spirit of Real Madrid, and they're going to rise up from this one. And the next teams will go to suffer they're going to suffer for this loss. 100%. Unless you have anything to add on that. Now that you don't have anything to add on that, let us now go to the FA in England, because the English Premier League rested. But we had the FA Cup, the oldest cup ever in the English football, the best, one of the best cups, and to win. I know the feeling because I'm a defending champion.
I also know the feeling.
Former defending champion. I'm saying now we are talking about the defending champions, the current defending champions. I'm so happy about this because it made my weekend, and it was a long time coming. It's been quite some time before Manchester won in the remedies. But forget about Manchester. Let us start from the fixtures, from the results first, literally. Did we have the results first? And before we get to the sweetest part, let's start from this. I think Rodney, you have the results.
Let me check.
I think I have gotten the results.
Okay, go on.
FA Cup third round. This was third round, and we have Sheffield United versus Cardiff City, and Cardiff City won 1-0. Fulham versus Watford. Fulham won 4, and Watford won. And then Everton versus Peterborough's.
Peterborough.
Yes, Everton 2, and that other team nil. Yeah, so I have Wycombe 2 and Portsmouth 0. That was the other game. We have Aston Villa versus West Ham, and Aston Villa won, in which Aston Villa 2 and West Ham 1. Bristol City versus Wolves, and Wolves won. The result was Wolves 2 and Bristol City 1. We had Middlesbrough versus Blackburn Rovers, and the game ended Blackburn Rovers 1 and Middlesbrough 0. We had Birmingham City versus Lincoln City, and Birmingham won 2. Lincoln City 1. And then Liverpool versus Accrington Stanley, and Liverpool won 4 and 4-0 against Accrington. We have Leicester City versus QPR. Leicester 6, QPR 2. Nottingham Forest versus Luton Town. Nottingham Forest 2 and Luton Town 0. Brentford versus Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth won. That was actually shocking. Plymouth won and 1 and Brentford 0. Chelsea versus Morecambe. Chelsea won 5-0 against Morecambe. We have Bournemouth versus West Brom, and Bournemouth won 5. West Brom 1. Norwich City versus Brighton, in which Brighton scored 4 and Norwich City 0. Reading versus Burnley. Burnley won the game. Burnley 3 and Reading 1. We have Exeter City. Some games. They have many games. Let me just go to Man City versus Salford City, in which Man City won big, 8-0 against Salford. Leeds United versus Harrogate Town, and Leeds United won 1-0. Let me check. Tottenham versus Tamworth, in which Tottenham won 3 and Tamworth 0. Newcastle versus Bromley, and Newcastle won, in which they scored 3 goals, and Bromley won, scored 1 goal. Ipswich versus Bristol Rovers, and Ipswich won the game 3-0 against Bristol. And then let me come to Crystal Palace versus Stockport, and Crystal Palace won 1-0. Southampton versus Swansea, in which Southampton won, 3 goals against Swansea 0. And then the final game, which was Arsenal versus Manchester United, it ended on a draw, which went to penalties, and Manchester United won on penalties, scoring 5 penalties against Arsenal's 3. Yeah.
In a weekend that was mad with a lot of goals, a hell lot of goals, and very good actions there to be happy about as a football fan. And like I said, this is the oldest cup in English football, one of the most respected cups or in English football.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that we had some things of the firsts, like when Manchester for coaches like Ruben Amorim, a first FA Cup bout, and. Looking at this number of goals that was scored in some of the games, you see the range, the difference in range or the quality between the top flight and maybe
the third tier,
you see that difference of range, because when you're going to score, you are being scored 8 goals per still, it shows there's a very big margin for you, and 5 goals and 4 goals and all that. And it's a weekend whereby we saw the top flight teams in the English football shining so well against these small teams and being happy about them shamelessly. But anyway, let's start from the first team that I feel like we should be talking about here. Let's start from Liverpool. Liverpool winning 4-0 against Accrington, and. It's a game that I felt like, of course, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Liverpool was going to win this game from whatever angle it was coming from. And my problem is the margins, sometimes I feel like when you get a team that maybe is way below you, just score maybe 2 to 3 goals, then just possess the rest. Why would you do that to a certain team, You're a Liverpool. You're playing against an Accrington. Why score 4 goals past them? Or what do you make? Okay, forget both my statements. What do you make of that game?
It was just a game of football, It's the FA Cup third round, and still there is a lot of teams in the competition.
Yeah.
So you still have these second tier teams, third tier, fourth tier in the competition, and when you told me, this competition is that it's an old respected competition. So. If you, for example, Liverpool versus Accrington, it was very predictable for Liverpool to win. But these are the games whereby teams like Liverpool give chances to maybe the youngsters, and I could see a lot of new maybe youngsters being given chances in games like this. It's important, maybe resting players like Salah because they didn't start. Sikuona Salah Cheza, players like Van Dijk, and it was a much needed game, katikati ya wiki. Kwanza ukiangalia venye schedule ya the fixtures venye ziko, you have the Premier League, the Carabao, you have the Champions League, you have the FA Cup. It's wild. So games like this ones unapata chance ya kuintroduce other players tuone kama they can continue impressing, and it was an impressive result. And ukiangalia sasa venye walishinda, it was huge for them. Nani niliona Chiesa also alicheza na pia akafunga, so it's big for Liverpool. Kwanza after drawing against Man U, it's like a reset button. Yeah, it's a much needed match for them, and they won, and it's big for them going into the title race as well, the Premier League. So big win for them.
They needed that because of course after the upset of against Manchester United in the English Premier League, they needed a small team to give them that morale back. Let's go to another game that I feel like
it wasn't a must to say you are disrespecting Accrington.
But that's the okay. I know not any Accrington fan around here, so I'm safe. Okay. Leicester City winning 6 against 2 to Queen's Park Rangers. I think it's the reason why Queen's Park Rangers has never come back to the league, because I feel like their level right now, it's way below. And what do you make of that game? It is a Leicester that is very much troubling in the English Premier League, managing a 6-goal thriller against Queen's Park Rangers. So what do you make of that?
And especially considering that they were also in the lower league last season.
Yeah, exactly. The levels.
There's a bit of a difference between the Premier League and the other lower leagues. And again, I think it was a good performance from Leicester, and it clearly shows the impact that Ruud has over at Leicester, considering how sort of well they've been performing. They've had ish performances, not very consistent, but there's been a clear improvement in terms of how they play and their performances, and this was just to add on to that. And now moving onwards into the competition, they're going to play Manchester United next, so it's not going to be an easy fixture for them,
especially with the current form of Manchester United.
But overall, it's a match that I'm looking forward to, considering he was once our interim manager. So I'd like to see the kind of performance he's going to put up against Manchester United.
Definitely, that's a match to aspire to be part of, you know. And I'll be looking forward to that match so much, because I feel like these are the two parts of Manchester, the two sides of Manchester, because being a former player and a former coach, just an immediate former coach, and coaching Leicester that we beat some times back, and now let us see. It was going to be an amazing game. So it's much of a moral booster game for each of the teams, you know? And just the bragging rights. Another game that I feel like there was another thriller goal. It was a Bournemouth game against West Bromwich Albion. Again, showing the level and the quality between the difference in quality between the top flight and the other leagues. West Brom, we know the West Brom from sometimes back when it was back in the league. But we've seen Bournemouth being so good in the Premier League also, upsetting some of the big wigs in the league, and of course we didn't expect any less for performances from whatever they did here. 5-1 against West Bromwich Albion. Unless you have something to say about it, I feel like we should.
It's just clear.
It's just clear. Same way Nottingham Forest upsetting another 3. Is used into town. It will lead to Luton Town. 2-0. We also like the same way Brighton beating Norwich, my team, of course. But I have a very big, I have a soft spot for Norwich. I don't know, maybe because of the colours. They share those colours of Manchester United colours. I feel I have a soft spot. I love Norwich. I was disappointed.
Do you think they'll get back in the Premier League?
They've been doing that. They've been coming a season then going back.
But they have been out of the Premier League for some time.
Only 2 seasons, but I feel like they have the capacity to come back. They have been doing that, and they've proven that. Not once and not twice. So I feel like they'll be back, of course, and after coming back, they'll still go back to the second tier. So it's a wave. It's their thing. They're a master of this.
Unless they improve or maybe change the board or something like that.
They're not going to improve anytime. This is their culture. They're used to that.
Their culture.
And now I'm used to the disappointment, because, like I said, they have a soft spot for them. I love them so much. So another team, Tottenham finally getting, or not finally, because they've been winning even in their last game. So they won 3-0 against this. Of course, I don't feel like we should talk about Tottenham.
Maybe with Tottenham Kenya nitaguzia, na I think ningeisema nikiongelelea Liverpool, it's the Carabao Cup, the semi-final. Walishinda Liverpool 1-0, and there is some controversy into that, because back to poor officiating,
of course.
And we'll be coming into that topic later. Maybe Kenya nitasema Tottenham coming into this game, they are coming from a big win against Liverpool. Na ikacha Liverpool. Unajua Liverpool wametoka kudraw na nyinyi, and then coming to the Carabao Cup semi-final wame lose again to Tottenham. So it was a confidence boost for them, and even coming into this game, and it's even a bigger confidence boost for Tottenham, because the next game is the North London derby. So wow, I think the days that are coming, it will be interesting.
And I think I'll say it later. When the right time comes. FC also winning, of course. McKenna doing an amazing work. Newcastle, of course, winning. You have seen that, the projection for them winning, like through and through. It's a good form for them. They have Southampton sent to Southampton. Chelsea, of course, showing off. No problem.
Man City as well.
Man City, of course. Man City, why 8?
I think McCarthy scoring a hat-trick as well. So yeah, that's big, the form that they have been. I think ilikuwa chance ya kuonyesha, because I think Haaland, siko na hiyo game, mimi niliona to the second part of it, and most of it niliona McCarthy akicheza. He was so brilliant in that game. Doku as well with the dribbling and also scoring a goal. It was a big game for Man City. ukiangalia the form that they have been.
Yeah. So moral boosters like we said.
Moral boost, and walihitaji that big difference. Scoring 8
show them that they can score. Because they've not been doing that in the recent past, despite the fact that they won the last game, but still they have been having a very bad run of form for them. And I think the FA was favoring most of these teams. They were looking at this team is not performing well. Let us give them a morale. I think everybody's fighting against Arsenal, literally. Now,
we'll be coming into that. We'll be coming to that. We'll be coming into that with the draw, FA Cup draw. Hii kitu inaanza kwanza na the FA Cup draw. Hata achana na the matches being played first. Mbona teams kama Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, kina Liverpool wanapata this easy fixtures. But when it comes to Arsenal
and Manchester
United wanataka kwanza kuwapata in this third round, fourth round matches, wanataka kwanza watoke. I don't know. So, and we'll
I think Arsenal and Manchester United have been dominating this particular cup that people feel like others will be catching up.
If you look at the respective titles, ukiangalia FA Cup, Manchester United wana hold 13, Arsenal 14. Exactly. So it's like they try to catch these teams.
Exactly.
Wanataka maybe moja yanguke, you know, and
because if you look at the next fixtures, like Manchester of course has been given again Leicester. If you look at these other teams again, very weak teams. You think, okay, not weak. Weak is it's very harsh. But I think teams maybe I feel like they're above them, you know. And I don't care whether it's a vendetta against these teams. Whatever team they bring forward to Manchester will be kicking them and going.
I think something happens kwa hizi round wakifanya hizi roundups. It's like I don't want to say, but for me naona kama kuna kitu tu you happen. Ni venye sisi tukiona sasa the round ikiendelea, sisi tunaona the clear picture, tuona shuffles juu.
Exactly.
There is maybe a symbol inaonyesha I should take this ball. I think I concur with your sentiments, because if you look at last season, especially for first Manchester United, the team that we passed to get the cup, Liverpool's, the Man Cities and everything, very tough fixtures for us also. But of course, God is God. Okay. And you see the same thing repeating this. And I don't understand why they will put an Arsenal and a Manchester fixture at this particular point, because if you want to have a sweet ending to a maybe a competition, the best teams maybe you want them to be maybe in the finals or maybe the semi-finals to have that clash of the Titans. But right now, in the third round, you are pitting Arsenal against Manchester United. I don't think it was fair, unless they want to spoil the sweetness of the competition. And of course, maybe they have an agenda for this competition. Maybe they want some teams maybe to catch up with these two teams. Unless I'm speaking too much and nonsense.
No, but if you look at these other teams, you realize most of them didn't play against oppositions who are in the same league as them.
Exactly.
Look at Man City, Liverpool, Newcastle. None of them played teams that were in the same league as them. Only Manchester United and Arsenal. So we don't really know whatever happens behind the scenes or how they determine these draws. But anyway, the best team won. At the end of the day, that's what matters.
The best team won, and that's the statement for this weekend, for this week or the whole of this week. Now, let us now go to a team like I feel like we have a lot to talk about in this particular fixture. The fixture that sealed the weekend, the fixture that determined the mood that determined the mood of this week and maybe this year.
Not this year. You're going too far.
No, I'm only judged from what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Bragging rights.
Yeah, I have the bragging rights here. Let me speak what I want to speak. I'll give you time to. I am so happy. Do you know I'm happy? You know why I'm happy now. A fixture that maybe like literally. Okay, let us be neutral here with Manu. I think maybe that determined the mood for the week. This week, not week for the football. Now, Manchester United. Let us start with the team that was about Arsenal against Manchester United, because Arsenal were at home. A fixture that I feel like, a game that I feel like there was a lot of controversies in that particular game. From the fixture, the planning of the fixture to the infield actions, I feel like there was things were just going wrong, you know, and especially on the let us start from the referee side. First of all, the fixture ended in a 1-1 all during the normal time. Went to an extra time, no goals, and ended up in a penalty whereby Manchester won 5 goals to 2. These games, I'm saying this is a game that had a lot of things happening in that particular game. First of all, let us start from the lineups. First of all, I am very sure that the Arsenal fans were not satisfied with the lineup. the starting lineup. I'm very sure with that. Same way, to an extent, the Manchester United fans, before the game started, especially on the, for Arsenal, I feel like the people are asking why people like Partey were sitting, were benched. They're asking about so many questions about that Manuel tell us about it. Now, from the lineup to the on-field actions to the post-match, I think there was so much that in fact let's start from the football itself, and I feel like I don't know why Arteta has not talked about the ball, and
conspiracy theories.
Because before the game, I think there are talks of a very special ball because Manchester are the defending champions. So Mitre had to come up with a football to celebrate that. And I don't know why Arteta has not spoken about it. Let's start from the game now. Let's not go to the game. Let's start from Manu. You start from the negative, not go to the positive. Now, Manu, what do you make of that game?
I'll just pick up where you were saying the lineup. Ukiangalia lineup ya Arsenal point of view, unapata some players kukweko into the team ilikuwa questionable. Players like Merino, you have Jorginho, and players like Rice and Thomas Partey are in wako bench. I didn't understand it, but I said maybe he's resting players for the North London derby, which is coming on Wednesday. If you look at the performance, the game first half, I think from both teams, first half haikuwa engaging vile. Yeah. Maybe kulikuwa tuna a few chances here and there. Maybe what I can say from the first half ni that Gabriel Jesus injury, which looked bad, and that's another thing, as in we are losing another striker. Alikuwa ameshaingia on form, and then anapata setback ya injury. So I think hiyo ilikuwa, it wasn't a good sight to see. So Havertz comes in. Havertz anaingia kwa team. Of course, ndo sasa King Kai, as people say. In the second half, hata ikianza second half, I think it was more of the same of the first half, but mali game ili change ni hiyo bao yenu sasa. The opening goal here Manchester United. Gabriel did a mistake. I don't know what he was thinking. Alifanya mistake hapo and it lead to a counter. It was open. Gabriel amecommit mbele. Now hakukuwa na enough defense. Saliba alikuwa na shanga ni hold my defensive position ama niende Garnacho who was sprinting with the ball, and ikaleta hiyo defensive mix up. Na Fernandes was free. He caught the shot very clean, good goal, and coming into after the goal, the game inaanza kuchemka, and that Dalo red card as well ika spark up sasa the game. People might say it's a red card, people might say it's not a red card. From my view, mimi naweza sema I think Merino did much. It was a red card, yes. Ingekuwa yellow pia, but okay, he was on a yellow, and that challenge was a yellow card deemed challenge. So, but I think Merino did the most out of it. Mikel Merino, and rolling on the floor. Na ika sasa agitate ref like a yellow card. So game inaendelea, tukafunga after that. What shocks me sasa after that venye to equalize, kenye inanishangaza ni Arsenal can't break a 10-man Manchester United side. You have the players, as in you have Martinelli, you have Havertz, who is your striker. You have Odegaard, yes. You have Sterling. Sterling ndo aliingia in place of Jesus. I think Havertz ndo alianza pia. Okay, sikuona first half, but ukiangalia hiyo front line in that second half ikiwa 1-1, those players are capable of scoring the goal. Trossard aliyekwa, I think Trossard aliyekwa baadaye.
Yeah, even
Partey came in, but Partey came in I think because Timber was injured. I think Timber nasikia amepata injury kidogo. Rice akaingia and it was effective, but not taking your chances. Sana Havertz alikuwa na a clear cut chance.
More than two, I think.
More than 2, 3, I think.
And he was just big.
For me, your game, I think we weren't good enough. I can just say that we were 11 men against 10 men, but you can't score against
Actually
10 men.
12.
Okay, yeah, 12. That's
Actually,
siko natuka. Okay, nitakubali, me I'm not biased. I'm not biased. Nikiwatch your game, okay, as a fan, I'll take it. Hata kama the ref was on our side, as a fan, I'll take it because kuna times amekuwa against us in some times back. So akiwa na sisi, mi niko sawa as a fan, but as a footballing analyst and maybe if ukiangalia analytically, it's not right. That's bias. Na sasa inaleta hiyo topic ya venye hii game ilipangwa, officiating pia, the ball to be used, the FA Cup round, it's kuna venye tu, and of course ikafika penalties and Havertz was the one. Of course, Havertz was the one to miss that penalty. Let me not even talk about that Odegaard penalty miss because
the normal game time.
Yeah, normal game time. Angepea hata Jorginho penalty because Jorginho, we have better penalty takers. We have Jorginho. Niliona hata Rice, I think Rice aliingizwa later because Rice is also a good penalty taker. But overall in that game, I think we are not good enough, and it started with the Carabao Cup. Neka build up. Mimi hata nikiangalia game tukikuja into this game in the weekend, niliona doubts. Nilikuwa ninasema yes, we can get the win, but not in the 90th minute, as in tungeenda extra time. Tulienda extra time ni sawa, but we couldn't get the job done, and I think Arteta has to be called out. That's all I can say, because transfer window iko open. You have to bring something that will change the team, and we are 2 weeks in and nothing is being done. So I don't know now what's next for him. I don't know what the future holds for him, because as I can see, it's like another trophyless season for Arsenal. So,
and Arteta out chance are filling the air right now.
Imeanza kufanya fans wako divided. I can see a few clips hata hapa Kenya. Unapata fans wanaanza kukua divided. Kuna wenye wanasema Arteta out, kuna wenye wanasema hapana, mpe transfer window. Atapewa many chances. Na ulikuwa na 2 seasons zenye ungeshinda Premier League. Kama angekuwa the person to take us over the line, one of the seasons basi angeshinda Premier League for me. Kwanza yeye yenye hii last season, he was this close. And when it matters, he can't get us over that line. So I think for me, in my opinion, hata kama atafika at the end of the season, kama itafika end of the season ni sawa, but next season maybe we should have another manager for me. Yeah. But overall that game, I think Man United, hata nyinyi amkufanya kitu extraordinary. I think kenye tu mlifanya, mlihold your position and mkatu frustrate, and sisi we are not that good to score goals, but another trophyless season coming. So that's all I can say. And 5 years this guy has been given a lot of, I don't know, 780 million. Kai Havertz 65 million, 275 pounds a week, and you're missing those chances. How? The coach has to be called out, and I think going forward it will be interesting. Kwanza sai North London derby inakuja, and tukishindwa hiyo, I think now the fans will be wata jam sasa kabisa.
You'll go berserk.
Exactly. And that goes to the coach, to the board, even the Kroenkes also have to play a part in this, because now tulianza ku progress ni sawa, but we aren't winning trophies. Ameshinda trophy moja tu, so
but you are Arsenal anyway.
No, we are. Okay. That's.
Before we go to hear from Rodney, there's thank you so much for everyone who's taking part in the conversation on our Facebook page. I'm seeing a lot of text messages, especially Teddy, who is all out here for blazing about everything. Let's start from the Celine. Thank you so much, Celine. Celine says, "Manu mpaka nasikia kulia." Quite interesting. Simon Peter says relegation ya kwa timu ya mtu. I know. Simon, I know what you're saying. I know who you mean. Okay, sasa tunabatana tu mbele. Teddy comes in and says, Manu using fixture as an excuse at Chelsea wanapewa timu ndogo. Boss, we are facing Brighton for goodness sake. The Brighton that beat you home and away together with useless United. Hey. Teddy, calm down. Is it the first? Okay. Teddy says again. ODIPO, when you mention Chelsea, use capital letters. This is 2025 Conference League winners, NDPL. Delusional. Simon says that someone comes back and says, "What's about the what Chelsea showing off?" Police I know. What was Chelsea going to get sana kwa day? Terry says Man U versus Leicester should be a derby because Man U will be facing their former interim coach. Rude, okay? Today Manu has reason to speak. So sad for Arsenal. My people. Simon again says, Hapo chini Chelsea must be represented. Hey, so I think my producer says that anasema hapa chini lazima uko na Chelsea hapa kwa hizo majezi. We will work on that, Simon, don't worry. Hopefully next week tutajaribu. Teddy will come with a Chelsea jersey here. Teddy ndio mwangusha, sisi. Bossman mesha semaje, Manu kwa uko na mood swings. Come on, you're already killing a dead lion. You're still attacking a dead lion, man. Vani. Let's come slowly. Someone says, I'm waiting for Manu next game to see if you really deserve yesterday's win. Come on, you deserve that. This is Manchester United, the great. Oliver says, mbona kuna mtu wako na hasira ya game ya jana? Simon finishes up by saying, today I will give credit to it is needed. Congratulations to Manchester United. Arsenal out of FA Cup. Of course. Things just history repeats itself. It's Arsenal. Now, let us listen. Let us now hear from now the victors. You know, so when the victors said they're given time to speak, you know, ample time. Speak about your team and everything.
Okay. So just to start off from, as you said, the lineup was a bit unexpected, especially defensive-wise. Personally, I thought Euro would start to at least give us a bit of physicality and height in that defensive area, but Martinez started and it actually worked, so I was quite happy about that. And we also saw Ahmad being benched. He didn't start. Garnacho is the one who started on the wing, so again, a bit of a shocking decision, but in the long run it actually worked out. Now in terms of refereeing, normally I'm a very calm and relaxed person, but yesterday is possibly the first time I had an absolute head loss from the refereeing decisions. You know, from the penalty to possibly Dalo's red card, because personally I didn't feel like it was called for. If you look at the replay, he didn't even touch the player. So yes, it was a bit late, yes, it was a bit rash, but again, it was a bit
harsh?
Yeah, a bit harsh. And the penalty again, Havertz to the dive, a bit shocking, but yes, we just accept it. And luckily our goalkeeper stood up and, you know, took us out of that scenario. And now, moving on to the game, in as much as people might say it was a tactical masterclass from Amorim, it was not very perfect. We had our weaknesses, and it's only that maybe due to a bit of luck, possibly Arsenal were not able to capitalize on their chances. Havertz had a number of chances. We saw Trossard and De Ligt with a very, very good clearance from the line. You saw Rice with a chance, with basically a free header into the post, and you know, the goalkeeper stood up to it. So, in as much as we managed to get the win, yes, there were weaknesses, but at the end of the day, the win is what matters. And I think looking at the game, it was down to a bit of mentality, it was down to intensity, because Arsenal are, you know, truth to be told, they are possibly one of the best teams, in not only in the English Premier League, but also, you know, in football in general. And for you to go to the Emirates and go basically, you know, band for band with a team like Arsenal, it's not something that we can discredit from Manchester United. You know, they matched their intensity like for like. The only place where they kind of had to step back is immediately after the red card. That's where basically you can say the game changed. But overall, let's say the tactics and the plan still remain the same. You might say we sort of packed the bus, but you know, if you look at such a scenario, especially considering you're in a very, let me say, hostile environment, and playing against a very good team like Arsenal, there's some measures you have to take, and you have to just try and sit back and try to defend as much as you can. And credit where it's due. Manchester United played very well. Having to defend for possibly 70 minutes with a player less and against a team as good as Arsenal is not something that we can take away from them. So I think credit where it's due to every single Manchester United player. I cannot maybe criticize any player. I think every single player played to their very best. Every single one of them, from the goalkeeper to all the defenders to the midfielders, the attackers, they all had a very good game. And I think now they've sort of set a, let me say, standard, or they've sort of raised the bar to now this should be the bare minimum going on with the rest of the season. This should be the standard performance against every single team, despite whichever opposition you're facing, whether it's the top teams, whether it's the middle teams, the lower teams, they should at least sort of maintain this kind of performance moving on with the Premier League. Definitely.
And before I add my 2 cents onto that discussion about the Premier League, producer, I think there's something you need to put. Producer, I think there's something you told me you are going to put. My producer, I don't know if you're listening. There's something I think uliniambia utai. Kuna ka clip kidogo ka ngoma kidogo hivi. Thank you so much. It was supposed to happen now. It's a song called Tumeshinda by.
I know the song. You don't have to tell me.
Now, this is what I feel about that game, that particular game. First of all, let's start from the general aspect of the game. I felt like both teams, especially when starting off, I think there's something somebody said, and I feel like maybe it made sense. Manchester came with the defending mindset. Arsenal came with the set piece mindset, But because if you look at that, the general outlook of the game, there was so much. Arsenal had so many corners. Unfortunately, they didn't convert any, and I was very scared whenever during the whole of that game when I saw Arsenal, because if we still have the scars of last time, not just long ago when they scored 2 goals against us in the same ways, and I failed to understand why Manchester would risk that unless maybe they felt they were confident enough to be able to hold Arsenal from their corners. Now, another aspect of the game I feel like I enjoyed so much. I think people are not giving so much credit on this one. The goalkeeper. First of all, when I saw the fixtures and I saw Bandy being the main keeper, I was very scared because when you still remember the performance against Liverpool, the one we had, he was very poor. In that. Sorry, Tottenham. It was Tottenham.
It was Tottenham. The Carabao.
Yeah, the Carabao Cup. I felt like he had performed so much, and he was one of the reasons why we lost that game. And now seeing him in the lineup, and this is Arsenal that they are. After scoring Arsenal, maybe if I say so in this moment, I was very scared. But the performances, the shifts he did in that particular game, I was. What word can I say? What adjective should I use? He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. The saves, forget the penalty first. The in-game saves that he made, especially there was one by Havertz, I think. There was also another one by Rice when he came in. Amazing saves. In fact, close range saves, And in a normal day, if it was on, I felt like they were supposed to be goals, And that was a very good showcasing from him to show the coach that I am up to the task. The first one was just a mistake against Tottenham, but this is who I am. And I'm happy because after the game, the coach said that in the last games against Tottenham, we were blaming him. We were blaming the keeper, but right now he's a hero, which is the thing that was, And that is what you need to do when you're given a chance in a team like Manchester United. You need to prove yourself that you're supposed to be here. And that's a lesson to everyone, to Rashfords, to the Sanchos, in case, of course, Sancho is not coming back, but any other player who is coming up and given a chance in Manchester United, to Zags, the first chance you get, it doesn't matter how you performed last time. The next chance you get, you're supposed to make sure you do your best to make sure that you're coming up on top, as a hero. And that's what Bernard did yesterday. Amazing work for him. Not failing to mention Maguire. Amazing work he did yesterday. In fact, let's say the whole defense line. They stood their ground. They stood their ground so well, being able to absorb the attack from Arsenal, because let's say that it is. Arsenal had the most ball, and the most attacks, and because Manchester was mostly attacking from maybe counters most of the time. They are depending on counters. So being able to absorb that pressure from the Arsenal attack, amazing work from them. Not just taking away from Arsenal. They played a good game. Like on field, they were playing a good game. They only failed to convert the games because if you look at most of the final games, the final balls were made for people like Odegaard. They were very dangerous balls.
Yeah.
The only problem was the conversion. They had a problem with converting those chances into goals. If they were clinical enough, maybe they would have even scored 4 past Manchester United. Yeah. If I'm right or wrong, you know, I know I'm right. So definitely, so not take away from Arsenal. I think they were good competitors. Getting the red card at that particular moment, I think it was a very big scare for us and for Manchester United especially. And I'm very much faulting dialogue because if you're on a yellow, whether it was a right call for the referee to give a yellow or not, there are some dangerous trades you don't step. First of all, based on the fact that there's no VR in that particular game, so the referee can be wrong.
Yeah.
But there's some way. If you look at that tackle, maybe the intention, maybe the referee looked at the intention, maybe coming with both feet to tackle the player. Yeah. After in fact we were the one who lost that ball, so it shows that maybe we were coming out of frustration. So definitely the interpretation for the referee was that maybe he was trying to win by with too much effort. So definitely it warranted a yellow card. You know, doesn't matter whether he held him or not. So I think for me, I think the yellow was warranted. For me, I think it was the second yellow was warranted. So the red card, I have no issue with that with the referee. But now the general officiating from the referee, super poor, very biased, you know. And I would see like he was from every foul for a Arsenal player, he was pressing for a foul. I think, and I feel sometimes, especially if you look at the penalty that he got for the penalty for Havertz.
Actually, sorry for cutting you short. Actually, in that build up to the penalty, Sterling made a good run setting up Havertz very well. For me, I didn't see how it was. Sijui mbona Havertz angedive because Ali received your pass from Sterling and he was in a good position to shoot.
Just to shoot, exactly.
He just took an extra touch and now he wanted to dive, as in Ali kutafuta penalty, which alipata, he got the penalty. But for me, hata nikiangalia, singeweza kucelebrate your penalty. Hata kama wangefunga, tungeshinda, yes, ni sawa. But now, coming back to looking at it analytically, it's not right. The officiating is very poor, and it shows you how officiating in England sahi mali imefika. And sahi ukiangalia wameka hiyo rule ya no VAR in this third round or maybe fourth round, hata sijui. Niliona specifically in this third round there's no VAR because some clubs have no VAR in their stadiums. So why then uweke draw ya Man U versus Arsenal na third round wako na VR, but now scrap VR because that's why I'm telling you this fixture inaanza tu from the draw, how they walifanya hiyo draw ya FA Cup, the build up of the match, the officiating, and umetaja officiating, that ref, the fouls unapata, maybe it wasn't alikuwa na favor Arsenal, hiyo naweza kubali, but unapata his general officiating, let's say nyinyi mtu foul, Man U foul Arsenal, kutakuwa na a slight second and then ana blow whistle late. That element of blowing the whistle late because umepata tini foul ama receive something that's a foul, but now una disrupt game, unaharibu game. So the officiating was very poor, specifically that penalty very poor. Najua ninge celebrate, but coming back to it analytically, maybe ningesema it's luck.
And this one thing maybe you're not talking about, there's a goal by Martinelli. I don't know if you saw that. It was denied though. Do you think it was supposed to stand?
No, I think it was offside.
What do you think?
Offside.
That's why I feel like maybe, do you know that I think it touched on Maguire. If I were, unless I'm forgetting the rules of football.
Maybe kungekuwa na VAR, I think.
It was supposed to, me from my view, I feel like the fact that it bounced on Maguire, maybe it was supposed to stand. Objectively looking at it, because it was because I feel like, because I know if it touches an opposition player, that bounce it's supposed to stand.
Yeah, I know that true.
It is supposed to stand, but anyway, the referee, of course, coming back to the referee now again. Poor officiating, and the lack of VR, like you said, didn't help a bit. So I feel like this should be a lesson to everyone. I know Manchester United is not going to press a charge against it because they have not been doing that. Especially Ruben Amorim insists that he never speaks about the referee. So I feel like the next time I think it should be a lesson. If you're looking at that game objectively, if the refereeing board or the FA board is looking at that game objectively, I think they're going to do something maybe in the next games or the coming years about having a VR in each and every aspect, or every level of that particular tournament. So I feel like that's something that should be done. So unless you have something else to talk about here, about anything.
For me,
that you're
maybe what I could add, nikimalizia, I think Arsenal with how they display themselves. Now I'll talk generally, not even with the FA Cup, because you can go back even to the Carabao Cup. We lost against Newcastle at home. That was our first loss of I think of the season. I can say, and also going back to Brighton versus Arsenal, that draw of poor game, as in we had the ball, but Nikama to set up defensively. Playing 3 defensive midfielders in a game shows you that maybe the coach alikuwa na intention ya kudefend. Get that one goal, lead and defend. So going back to that, hizo results hivyo, I think Arsenal it's like in a downward trajectory, and sahi imefika point sahi wanaweza ingia in a crisis, because losing back-to-back home games against Newcastle, against now recently Manchester United, sana sana ya Manchester United inaweza kuwa na impact kubwa with Arsenal's future in this season, because the next game, it's a bigger game for Arsenal.
A derby for them.
Yes, and if they either draw, okay, a draw might even be a good performance, but it will be a better performance result for Tottenham with a draw, because Tottenham coming to Emirates,
they've been losing
for
the longest time. Yeah.
So I had even one fan saying that wao wanatukata draw too. So imagine sisi tukidraw your game or losing, inaonyesha sasa tuna Arsenal inaenda in a downward trajectory, and I think January transfer window ilikuwa a good opportunity for Arsenal to get themselves back on track, because Saka is clearly injured. Now we have lost Gabriel Jesus, Ethan Nwaneri, because Ethan Nwaneri sasa ndo alitake up your position ya Saka, is also injured. And Timber scare ndo hiyo sasa imekuja. Nimesikia Odegaard is limping. I'm hearing from certain sources. So it's game ya Manchester United FA Cup. It might be the difference for Arsenal's Premier League title race chances, and maybe even Champions League, because those are the 2 trophies ndo zimebaki tuone kama tunaweza shinda. Champions League, I don't think so. Premier League, Liverpool can't hawezi rudi nyuma. So for me, Arsenal, January transfer window, if they don't do anything, I think it's over for them. Yeah. Definitely,
and that's the projection. That, of course, for a rival fan, it's sweet news, you know. Of course, those are sweet news for a rival fan.
Of course.
But for a footballing fan, I think Arsenal deserve better. The problem is that they talk a lot, but they still deserve better, you know. And I think, for me, if I had to air in my opinion on Arsenal, I feel like Arteta has done a very good work, a marvelous work in building a team.
Yeah.
But it comes out to the final stage of winning something, like a cup out of it, to see something out of it, like he's at his optimum point, I think. So you need maybe a coach to take you to the next phase. Unless you have something to finish up and just couple it up with the signing off.
I think, okay, I'll just focus on mostly Manchester United, but just to touch on Arsenal, I think for Arteta, he kind of regressed a bit this season. He sort of derailed from whatever he was trying to build over the years. Because if you look at last season, the previous season, if you're watching Arsenal, you realize they were possibly one of the most entertaining teams in not only in the Premier League, but also in generally in football. And now you look at Arsenal this season, it feels like you're watching a completely different team. How they set up, how they play, it feels like he completely abandoned whatever principles or tactics he had in the previous season. So now, considering that we're mid-season, I'm not sure if it would be the right call to kind of go back to whatever systems he had. But it looks a bit tricky for Arsenal, because if you look at Man City, they're slowly finding their form, and once they find that perfect form, it's now hard to stop them, and they'll go back to the top. You look at Nottingham, they are right there. You look at maybe even Newcastle or Brighton, they might not necessarily be, Chelsea also there. So it's not going to be as easy as it was maybe last season when they came very close to winning the Premier League. So hopefully they can sort of find a way to turn things around.
Just set up because of time.
Okay. So thank you to each and everyone who was tuned in today. I have been Rodney. your sports analyst, and thank you to all your for all your remarks, for those who have commented online, for those who are watching us on TV. Thank you for tuning in. To have a lovely afternoon and have a blessed week.
Yes, and just to sign up myself, there's a comment by Simon Peter says, great show, great panelists, EBN's Kobo to the world. Thank you so much, Simon. Be blessed a lot. Thank you for keeping tabs with us. Unless Manu, you have to sign out finally.
Nimona comment ingine amesema Manu should be given a glass of water. But thank you so much. Nimona a lot of engagement today on Facebook, in the comment section. We treasure you so much, and thank you so much for bringing in your views. Of course, tulifa kwa na Teddy Samis leo, but he wasn't around. So thank you so much. We do this again next week on Monday, same time, same place. Have a lovely week ahead, and God loves you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shosho. Gladys, thank you so much. I love you so much. Kuhu, thank you so much for watching. And everyone who has been watching, God bless you so much. Bye.